Hi, welcome back to Manohar Academy. In this lesson, we are going to learn about local date. The slide says two objects, but we are going to cover only local date in this lesson. We are going to cover about string in the next lesson. Okay, the local date is available in java.time package. We haven't learned about what are packages and all those things. I will cover that in the next lesson. Okay, let's get started. So first thing we need to understand is local date is immutable. What do we mean by that? 2 or 3 classes before we have learned about mutators and accessors. So on a object, if you invoke a method, if the state of the object is modified, then we call that mutator method. If the class is immutable, that means there are no mutator objects on that class. So here we can see that all the methods in local date are accessor methods, and the methods will return a new object instead of mutating the existing object. So here if we see, we have created a object local date, then we are printing that. So today is May 31st, so it has printed May 31st. Then I am invoking a method called plus days, so it is going to add 100 days to May 31st. Then it won't mutate the existing object. Whatever object this particular reference variable is pointing to, that won't be modified. Instead, new object will be created and new object will be returned. But because we are not assigning that new object to anywhere, the object will be lost. So if we print it now, again we are going to get May 31st, because this method is the accessor method. It's not a mutator method. So now if you see here, we have the same code, except when we are calling this accessor method, whatever new object is returned by this call, we are assigning to the same variable, that is LD. So before this method call, LD is referring to an object that has this particular value. After this particular statement, after reassignment, the same variable is pointing to a different object that is having this value. So immutability is a desired feature in some circumstances. We will learn about immutability more when we talk about design principles. So for now, understand that local date is immutable, and whatever methods you invoke on that particular object, they will create and return a new object. So if you want that new object to be stored, we have to explicitly assign that. Okay, now let's look at code that will create the new objects. So in local date, there are no public constructors, so we can't call new local date constructor. So instead, the local date class will provide some factory methods or the static methods. They can be called on a particular class, that is local date obviously, and they will create the new objects for us and they will return the object back. So here we have a reference variable of type local date. This static method on the local date is creating the object and it is returning the object. And the method names are very self-explanatory. For example, when I invoke now, it is going to return the date of today. So if I invoke of 2017 January 1st, it is going to give me 2017 January 1st. Because some people get confused with whether the number January starts with 0 or 1. We have a convenience method that will take month.January. So here month is a enum. I will cover enums after some time, but if you press month dot, you are going to see all the months available and you can pass it to that as an argument for creating the object. Or if you know the year, you can give the year day number. For example, January 10th will be 10, January 31st will be 31st, February 1st will be 32nd day in the year. So if you give 32nd here, it is going to be February 1st. Because I gave 10 here, it is going to be January 1st. Okay, and also we don't know whether we are going to get the same object by these two calls. We may be getting the same object or new object. We don't know that. But because the local date is immutable, it doesn't matter whether we are getting the same object or new object. Doesn't matter. We are getting an object. That's it. Okay, and Yeah, as we can see here, there is no time part in the local date, so it only stands for a date. It is called local date because there is no time zone information as well. So there is no time information, there is no time zone information. For example, I am in Eastern time zone, so it is a time zone. It will be 5.5 hours behind Central time or Greenwich time. So we will talk about time zones and all those things when we discuss Java time package. That is going to be after 3 or 4 modules, not now. But for now, please understand how to create the local data objects, because this is very important. Wherever we need to save the date, we are going to use the local date. Okay. Once we create the object, we can invoke some useful methods on this particular local data objects. We can add, or we can plus years, plus months, plus weeks, and plus days. You can give any number here. If you give 10, it will add 10 years, and the new object that is returned will be 10 years later. Okay, so also you can minus years, months, weeks, and days, and you can just replace one of them. For example, if you have January 1st 2015 in the variable or in the object, if you call with year 2016, instead of 2015 January 1st, you are going to get 2016 January 1st. So only year part will be replaced, or you will get a new object with this particular year. You will get a new object with this particular month. You will get a new object with this particular day of month, but remaining things will remain, other things will remain same. For example, year won't change. Only the date and month will change in this case. Sorry, only the date will change, not even month. But if you call with day of year, even the month can change. Okay, in all these cases, it's going to return you a new object unless you save that object in a different variable or in the same variable. You won't get that object. Okay, and also the calling of these methods or the order is also important. For example, you have January 31st. On that particular date object, if you call plus months, you won't get February 31st. You are going to get the last day of February. So that matters. Then if you add one more month, after this you will again call plus month. So now you are going to get from February 28th, you are going to get March 28th, not last day of March. Okay, so if you call the method plus months by giving 2, it may be different. It may be giving you different result from calling the plus month of 2 times. So you can practice that in the IDE and you can see the difference for yourself. That is because all the months, they have different number of days in the month, right? Because of that reason, it is going to behave that way. Also, we can get some information from the local data object. So if you have that object, we can get the year, that is going to be, in this case, 2017. We can get the month. If we get the month, it is going to give a enumerated object, same way we have seen here while creating the object. So whatever value we are passing here, the same kind of value we are going to get here. Also, we can get month value. In this case, it is going to return a number between 1 and 12. Also, we can get the get day of month. So obviously, it will be between 1 and 31. Get day of year, it will be between 1 and 366. And get day of week. This is also important because it may be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or any one of those days. Just like month, we have another enum called day of week, and it has Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, all those objects. So we can get that. Also, we can get the length of the year, either 365 or 366, length of the month, which can be 28, 29, 30, and 31, any of those values. Okay, that is all about local data object. So in the next class, we are going to cover about string. So these are all very important methods on the local date. There are some other methods, but before we can understand those methods, we have to cover some more ground. Okay, thank you once again. Last but not least, if you did not subscribe already, please go ahead and subscribe. If you are benefited from this video, please like this video and share it with your friends so that they can also watch, they can also learn. See you in the next lesson. Thank you.